All right, but coming back to the animal, although we have the capacity as a human animal being spirit to have self-consciousness, we are in a sub-state that we don't have. So basically what we are suggesting here, this kind of animal way of being, to be more vividly there where we are, aware of the senses, using the senses as anchors, yeah? Because to see, to hear, to sense the body. See, hear, sense the body, and continually observe the tendency to go somewhere else, some other time, you know, uh, and then come back to see, hear, feel the body, and spend more and more time in this kind of. We don't need to think all the time, guys. The thinking is overrated. Thinking is a function. So actually, another exercise would be to take a little mini break, and stop the thinking, stop the doing, and just take like 2 or 3 breaths and be here, see, sense the body, and staying without thinking. Yeah, non-conceptual awarenessing, a wordless presencing. Yeah, even for like 3-5 seconds. And so that is very good. Now, if you can add this thing, okay, hear, see, feel, take a mini break. Also, scanning, what's the state of my body, So that's self-observation. What's the state of my body? What's the state of the energies? What's the state of the emotional body? Yeah. I work with people, they try to overcome intense suffering in their emotional body, but they are disconnected. They don't want to feel. How you don't want to you can't transform emotional suffering if we don't want to feel. So I often give them this exercise, which actually it's a great fourth way exercise, to not be just head and world all the time, but to have some awareness of the inner body. Especially this area from the chest to the belt. There we have the emotions, and train oneself to observe without trying to analyze, without trying to get rid of, without trying to change. Observe these mysterious energies, knots, stirrings, a mysterious sense of fear, anxiety, worry, irritation, and not do anything about it. Just be awake to it, observe, be the witness of these things. Yeah, that's very important. We know what we are dealing with.
I just had the image as you were talking, Mihai, that the system is true of any teaching, but I'm thinking in this case of the fourth way system. It's like we are trying to hand over to someone a very complex telescope. It's a combination telescope and microscope.
Yeah.
And it has many working parts, and there are many ways you can adjust the lenses. And sometimes
it has some inbuilt stuff where it tells you what to watch. It has some setting for this galaxy or for this river already. Already sub settings. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes we're looking at something in microscopic detail about ourselves. And at another time, we're zooming out and we're actually looking into the galaxy almost. So it's a very complex combination microscope, telescope. It's probably some other things too. It can even take pictures of what we see, and we can record these images and keep them, study them, compare them. But the key thing of all, as someone once said, a telescope is of no use without someone behind it. Mm-hmm. And so self-remembering is, as another person said, look from where looking looks. Mm-hmm. So as you're observing yourself and you're using this, learning to use this instrument of the fourth way system, to remember that the whole point is to be looking from where looking looks, to be the looker behind the telescope. Mm-hmm. I wish I could think of another practical thing that would help,
Now I got something.
We want to remember more often to do this, to be the looker. So yes, what do you got?
The more you do these things, actually, it's interesting. Like, for instance, another exercise is that we walk a lot. I mean, hopefully you walk a lot. Now, if you're in sedentary America, sitting on our ass and driving all day, that's already a problem. I mean, I have this problem. I'm sitting as a therapist. So walk. You need to walk in nature, walk in the park, walk along the river, walk or ride the bike. Okay? Something that is very good for the body anyway, for the moving instinctive center, clearing the mind. All the monks of past traditions, they were not just sitting on their ass praying, they were working in the garden, they were weaving baskets, they were engaged. If the body is not engaged, the mind plays out all of this like craziness. So as you walk, we all walk, or but choose like a 10 minutes or even 7 minutes, like serious on a timer. Put a timer. And as you walk, ideally somewhere where it's nice, if possible. It's like it's nice, meaning like natural impressions, trees, clouds, forest, ocean, architecture, beauty, being in a museum. So as you walk, try for 10 minutes to just really just not go into daydreaming, not going into imagination. And so you are very present, aware of the cloud, aware of your feet on the ground, aware of the breeze on the skin. Trying to practice this, being there knowingly. And whenever there's at some point, and try not to go into, try stopping the thoughts, like the stopping the thoughts just for like 7 minutes, meaning you are going about the day walking, and then there will be some thought is going to tell you, oh, look, remember to do this because of that. You just catch it, notice it, and don't follow it. Don't become a taxi. Drop it, come back to being aware of what's happening, thoughts, feelings, sensations, sounds. Stay present. Another thought will come, notice it, don't go along with it. This is just 7 minutes, 10 minutes on the clock, then stop it, just drop it. Don't do this all day, every day. The idea is not to not have thoughts. The thoughts are not the problem. What's the problem is that this disease of having excess thoughts and our conscious awareness being veiled and hypnotized by it. So by struggling for a few minutes with that, you practice not identifying with every thought that comes along, and it jumpstarts this conscious presence. It jumpstarts. What is interesting is that later, if you do this for a few days, then at some point you're going to walk. You're not thinking about the work. You're not, and then suddenly, like, it activates itself. That's a special side effect of we are trying to remind ourselves with exercises, with working with others, with coming to a meeting like that. We remind each other, and we invest to build these reminders. And as a result of this, now the soul will jumpstart itself by itself. It's like, oh, wow. So because we actually love it, our consciousness loves to be more conscious, So that would be another exercise.
It reminds me of something we used to do, which I found very helpful, and that is when walking. And again, just for 5 or 7 minutes, don't try to do it all day necessarily, but to keep the vision above shoulder level.
Mm-hmm.
Most people, when they're looking, to try to keep up here at all times, just for 5 or 7 minutes, not in a conspicuous way, but just for the sake of trying to be here and now, being more present. And this is tied to also, if you're walking in the city, try not to look at the first floor of the buildings. For 5 minutes, if you're walking down a busy street in a city, just look at all the second and third floors. Just really look up. Look at, because most people don't even know what's up there, especially in a big city. They're looking at the shop windows and the people. So just lift your attention can help you lift awareness. It can help awareness lift itself. And so it's actually a fun exercise, an interesting exploration, and quite valuable. And these things begin to show us there's so much to see that we're not seeing. We're missing it. because we're not here. We're not behind the telescope. No.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's not absolutely like the truth of God, but very likely when you see people looking down, walking, looking down, that's connected usually with this state of being checked out. Yeah. So that's what Peter is saying that. Yeah. Also, it's interesting. You go walk in a store in a town or in a city in America, and especially in Europe, but in America too. No, the first level, it's where also advertisement. All of this is designed that we want this. It's designed to stir eyes, to stir the emotional center, to want things, to be happy. Is all this advertisement, all this is designed to make us be fascinated with it and lose ourselves. So that's like a nice little trick to look one level up. And there are less advertisements. There are maybe nicer architecture, hopefully, maybe in Europe more. And the clouds, the tree, this thing, you know? Yeah. Also, the one that I said with 5-7 minutes, not catching any taxi. You can do this as you drive too. Driving, you know, all of this walking, driving, it happens automatically in the moving center, which is fine. So, and the tendency is to, the body drives in and sleep, and the mind is somewhere else. So, you know, trying to diminish that state of sleep. Also, you know, whenever you get triggered, why not? I mean, that's really important. I teach this to my clients who are not interested in awakening. So whenever you are triggered, be interested in that. Notice where is it? Don't go out already in the head and all of that. So notice, oh wow, there's this energy pulsating in my chest and in my body. There's this knot. And you know, so the moment you are triggered, the moment you have a stronger emotion, try to use that as an alarm clock to become more aware. That will be very essential foundational work for future transmutation of suffering. And yeah, whenever there's a trigger, wake up, get more present. The tendency is to go into thoughts about that person. They did this and did that. And try to take a few breaths and drop the thinking, because the thinking comes from all of these uninvestigated emotional energies, and just not calm down. You don't need to calm down. Just drop the thoughts and be more aware of energies in the body. Where is it? Just be aware of it, you know? So these are good exercises, more aware of the emotional body in the moment. Big trigger, let it wake you up rather than make you go sleep. I mean, we talked last time, and this is very helpful for me, using some habitual tics that we do unconsciously, and often when we are in daydreaming. For me, you can find your own. For me, the tendency to touch my beard and my face a lot, and to play with this fidgeting, or people are shaking their leg. This stuff, it's actually spend a lot of energy shaking the leg all the time and moving like this and having all of this. Actually, it's very useful to use that. Actually, I'm using this whenever I catch myself, for the last few weeks, whenever I catch myself playing with my beard, I use it as an alarm clock to become more aware and realize what's happening. I was just thinking about something, I wasn't here, or simply the hand was doing this. There's no problem about that, but I'm trying to use this to reaffirm self-remembering.